arts. We are very happy to have you here tonight, as every first Friday is an event in and of itself. There's always a new speaker, there's always a new theme, and after the presentation tonight, we always invite you to stick around because we have a lot of vendors in our hallways tonight. The theme being Reiki. We got a lot of Reiki happening in the house tonight, so feel free to hang out to receive a complimentary session, whether it's traditional Reiki, holy Reiki, shamanic Reiki, 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 Reiki. And you might be sitting there like, what the heck is Reiki? Well, you're going to find out, because it's all about demystifying the mystifying. So, you're here because we are a very unique institution that prides ourselves on graduating really great holistic health professionals, whether that's massage therapists, coaches, energy workers, yoga teachers, you name it, we do it. We're all about health and wellness, especially with everything that we do. The times that we're in right now is the time for all of this work to really, really, really take its effect. And so I also want to acknowledge tonight we have quite a few of our master instructors here tonight. So if you'd be willing to stand, instructors. So we have Mr. Joel Hamilton. Please stand. Ms. Mary Ritter, who brought Holy Reiki in. Dr. Brad Boutte, Shamanic Reiki. And last but not least, the reason you're all here tonight is for our two amazing speakers, our Chief Spiritual Officer and founder of Sweeha, that is going into its 33rd year this year, Casey Miller, and our Master Reiki teacher, Scott Taylor. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, the energy that's here tonight, can you feel it? Like there is something exciting happening. So thank you for being here tonight. Whew. How many of you are like, oh, I know what Reiki is? Does everybody kind of know? Oh! Well, our goal tonight is to demystify it. And there's a part of me that wants to start with myth number 7. I'm not going to say the other one. Shall I? Or shall I stay on script?
You could go in the moment. We're demystifying. It's okay.
We're demystifying. Demystifying. So I'm going to give you number 7, and then we'll go backwards. Number 7, but we'll get to number 7. But it just feels like I got to tell you number 7. Ready? The myth is you have a choice. Now laugh. Because we believe that there is a time that everyone is called to do something with energy, healing energy. And whether you know it or not, you are called. Sometimes you don't exactly know what it is. In fact, it might feel like a fly, and you're like sweeping away. It's like, what is that? What is it? What is it? It's a calling. It's your destiny calling. So that's one of the things that we want to just talk about. Have all of you felt like there's still one little big thing that you're yet to do in this lifetime? Do you see? That's what we're talking about. And I call it one little big thing. Like if I could just find that thing. And I like to think Reiki is the answer. What's my favorite definition of Reiki? It's one that Mary Ritter used and I now use all the time. That Reiki is my life being a prayer in action. Isn't that a beautiful? Would you be willing to allow your life to be a prayer, and that the action is one of, oh my gosh, look at that. Can you see my hair? Woo! That is like, what if the calling is for your life to be a prayer? Some of us pray often. What the heck could be a prayer, right? And what if, in fact, that's why you're here tonight? There is a next step on that. So, with that, let's see. We're here, right? We're here. So Scott and I we've gone through this presentation several times. Would you be okay if we just kind of wing it? Because we think we know what we're going to be doing. And we have this presentation to keep us on. But we've changed it so many times, I'm not sure what the next slide is. Let's see. What is that next slide? Oh, it's me! Oh,
she's just shy. Very shy.
But I want you to see my last credential. I'm a former Reiki skeptic. Now, is there anyone that would have as their title skeptic? Oh, yeah. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love that. Okay. So why was I a skeptic? Because I couldn't feel anything. Part of this thing, you're a skeptic too, over there, Red? Was. You're a former. Okay. So I'll shorten my story. I kept going into Reiki, and I never got it. Like everyone else would go into Reiki classes, and they're like, oh my gosh, look, I'm feeling this. And I wasn't feeling. So I thought, well, maybe I'm feeling this. I don't know what it was, but I began to feel bad about myself because I couldn't get it. And so I went to 3 different Reiki classes, and I never got it. And I began to think that maybe this wasn't real, and there was a conspiracy against me. So you'll find out about Reiki as a skeptic. So I'm no longer a skeptic. Yeah. So let's just talk. I think the next one is the first myth. Oh no, it isn't. Okay, it's history. We are 33 years old, and our very, very, very first class was a Reiki class. Did you know that? That our very first class was a Reiki class.
Very first non-massage.
Non-massage class. Well, very first class of it. So we started as a massage school, and we had one of our teachers come to us and say, there is something else. I said, well, what else could there be other than massage? I mean, I'm a really committed massage therapist, and that's what we started as. And she goes, well, no, there's this thing called Reiki, and it's energy. I'm like, okay, you can do it on the weekend. And that's all that I asked. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know what she was teaching. And it was like, fine. And that began to be our first continuing education class. And that's what we did. And it was like they did it on the weekend. I didn't even know how to. So again, I was in my skeptic. And yet now we know that Reiki is the #1 specialty, largest classes that we have. Isn't that amazing? So, okay, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All right. Good. So this is the first myth. Tell me if you have heard this myth, that Reiki must be secretive. Has anyone heard that myth? Okay, you're laughing. So there was a time that one of the reasons people like me didn't get it is they didn't tell you everything. They turn off all the lights and they do this, whatever they did, but you couldn't see it. You didn't know what they were doing. They said that it was so secretive. Nobody could see you doing the movement, and my goodness sakers, you could not show the Reiki symbol. Yeah. So that it had to be secretive. So one of the things, I think that's the next slide, I'm pretty sure. Yes, thank you. One of the things that happened 25 years ago on a Friday night, just like this, we said that we were going to reveal
Dun, dun, dun.
the secrets of Reiki. There were double the amount of people in the audience that night. We just are demystifying tonight. But 25 years ago, we said we were going to reveal the secrets. So people said to me, was before social media, they were calling me up. They were stopping by. It's like, Casey, you are not going to show chakra ray. So what you have to realize, this is known as a power symbol. Have any of you seen this symbol before? Well, yeah. I mean, it's not available. It's always available. Maybe you don't necessarily know what it is, but this is. You couldn't even say the words out loud. You had to whisper the words. You couldn't show this. And so 25 years ago, we had this veil over it. And people are sitting out there, they're Reiki masters, and they had been taught this is not to be shown to the uninitiated. I didn't get the memo. Well, maybe I did, and I didn't think it. pertained to me. I don't know what it was. So when we took the veil back, this was what it is. I want you all together on the count of three, go, "Ah!" So I've taken the veil off. "Ah!" That's what it was like. It was like the energy was taken out of the room because we were revealing something that thou shalt not. So what do you think that was about? Like, why should we not reveal a symbol? Yeah, that was my answer too. I didn't know why. I didn't know why we couldn't. So we began to realize that when we showed people what it was, we taught them what it was, there was a new understanding. For me, when I saw the symbol, I began to realize, oh, there was like a sense of it. So is Reiki secretive? No. Now, we know that there are still some schools of thought that say that Reiki cannot be taught until you have gone through the first Reiki, and then you have 21 days, and then maybe you're going to be ready. Are you ready? I'm pretty sure you are. So I don't mean to be disrespectful. I want to just be realistic. You guys are ready for this. We're going to get this to you tonight. And you're not even going to be registered for the class. And you're going to say, oh! So 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. So that is demystifying it. It does not have to be secretive. All right. Right. All right. And so this is Scott Taylor. Scott Taylor is the Associate Director of Education. He's an LMT, and he is a Reiki master teacher. He's the director of our traditional Reiki. So what's your story? Because we put on there former Reiki skeptic.
Yes, it's true. I was a former Reiki skeptic, or I am a former Reiki skeptic. When I moved here from Texas, I had known some people that were calling themselves Reiki masters at the time, and I didn't find them to be upstanding people, and I thought, whoa, that must not be for me. So when I came here, I came for massage and yoga, and I had a fellow student that was all about polarity and cranial, and I tried those classes, and they were great, yet they didn't ring my bell. I was in a massage class, and the Reiki program director at the time, Lisa Salin, was my instructor, and she started talking to me about my energy and how she felt it was just amazing. And have you ever thought of Reiki? I thought, well, I really didn't jive with it, but I would give it a try. And the day I walked into that Reiki 1 class, felt the energy, and just experienced what Reiki was for myself without prejudging it, I fell in love. And it's been a Reiki journey ever since.
See, there's no choice. There was no choice. It was just like that. Mary, it just feels like you need to pop up and tell your story too, because yours is almost identical, right? I mean, we're not going in order of the plan, okay? But that's okay. That's kind of how Reiki is. It just always going. But you had a similar story, yeah?
This is what I expect from Casey Miller. It's called flow.
Oh.
Flow, where intention goes, Casey flows, or Casey flows, intention goes. So my name is Mary Ritter, and it was May of 2015. I had an experience. I had never heard of Sweha. I grew up in a very traditional Christian home. My husband and I were pastors of church, and I had a life-changing event happen in my life. A school that I was leading with several thousand students and about 500 faculty suddenly closed, and I found myself at a point of decision. And a friend of mine said, "Oh, you need to visit Casey Miller." And I said, "Oh, I don't think so." And
thought she had a choice.
Yeah, that's right.
and it's like that when we have a calling.
Yeah.
It's like this little, just it's for every single one of us, it comes up differently. It may be something that we see on the internet. It may be something that we're feeling inside of us. It is, or it could be a message that we're constantly receiving, like a number. We're seeing a number. Every one of us has a different way that we receive that message. For me, when I walked in the door, I smelled patchouli for the first time. I did not know what that was. And my intention was to leave and go to Mexico after this school closed. For about 6 months, I was just going to decompress at the water. It did not matter what was going to happen. And my friend was so insistent. He said, just come and meet her. Just come and meet her. And I said, if I come and meet her, will you leave me alone? He said, yes.
God's messenger.
And he sure was. And walked in the door, smelled patchouli. Casey flew in these garments of flowing love or something. Yes, and it is one of the most beautiful things that I love about you is your grace and the way that you just flow. And it's truly one of the things that I love most about you. So we were having this conversation, brought me in her office. We were talking about operations. My background is higher ed leadership. I've been in higher education for 25 years. We happened to have this conversation, and all that I can explain is it was like something opened in the roof, and it was like this vortex. And I looked, and she leaned in, she looked at me, and I went, I see what you're throwing down. And she said, would you come? And would you be a part of this? And my car was packed, ready to go to Mexico. And she said, can you start on Monday? And I said, I'll be here on Monday. And I never left. Fast forward, being an academic, being a staunch Christian, my proclivity was from the neck up. That's all I will say. And I had no awareness of how the rest of my body was connected. I did not know. And for so many of us who practice energy work, there are millions of us out there who are already practicing Reiki. We just don't have language associated with it yet. And I was in a class, and Scott Taylor was the assistant, Lisa Salen was the teacher, and we were in this very pitch dark room in this circle, and I was having a little bit of a panic attack because I did not know what was going to happen to me. And I sat by the door, like I was like inching my way towards the door with my chair. And as Lisa came around and they prayed over me, I had one of the most profound spiritual experiences of my life. And it was so profound that I instantly went to the Holy of Holies. I know where I went. I know where I was. I was healed. I came back. And it was so definitive, which the message was, bring this message to my people. And from that, I said to Casey, I had an experience. She said, really? I said, yes. And that's how Holy Reiki was formed. And so as each of you in this room are called for such a time as this, there's no coincidence.
Yeah.
And each of us needs to be able to lean in and grab that and know that and believe that we are all knitted together. That's why we're all here. And that we have the ability to raise the vibration of the nation together. There's so much more that we are alike than how we are different, especially as we look at humanity and Reiki. And so with that, I was a complete skeptic, and I walked out transformed. And if we just say the simple yes, right before Lisa came, I said, if this is for me, I will say yes. And it was whoosh. And I said, all right, those 3 little letters just changed my life. So my invitation is for you as well.
All right.
I think they probably need to experience
I
this.
think so.
You're probably hearing us. Okay.
I think so.
Do you want the lights totally off?
No, I think we're good.
That was an inside joke. Did you get it? Yeah.
So I want to do two things for you. When I get many of my students, they'll come and they'll be interested in Reiki, yet they don't have the experience of energy work, and they've heard about it many times, but they haven't made that connection. And so what I love to do for them is bring them to energy work from a purely scientific frame, and then make that leap to a truly energetic experience. Okay? So I'm going to take you just through the purely scientific right now. Okay? So everyone just take your two hands and bring them together and begin to vigorously rub so fast and put some pressure in there. What's happening right now? Hands are heating up. What are we doing scientifically? Friction, kinetic energy. Okay, and then go ahead and stop. And then just barely separate your hands. What do we feel? Heat, maybe. If you kind of bring them together and apart, you feel that little magnetic push. Bring your hands up to one of your eyes and look through. Can you see it? Oh, you can't see it, can you? But you can feel it. You can feel it, so you know it's there. You know that you've just created that thing. What I'd like you to do is just capture that feeling of the energy. This will be important for later. Capture the feeling of the energy that you created. Okay? What I want to do now is give some time for your hands to relax and help you to just ground and center and become really well seated in your body. All right? So if you'll just find a nice tall spine, take some nice deep breaths, maybe relax the eyes closed, not out of a sense of secrecy, but out of a sense of feeling into yourself. Deep breath in. Let that go. Begin to feel the weight of your body as it sits in the chair. Inhale. Exhale, chin to chest. Just feel the length in the back of the neck. Inhale your head to center. Exhale, right ear to right shoulder. Now feel the length in the left side. Any tightness or tension, just send the breath there. Inhale to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Again, just noticing the length in the right side neck, sending the breath to any tightness or tension. Inhale, head to center. And exhale. So feeling very nice, grounded, and comfortable, just bring your hands up and separate them and maybe cup them a little. And what I'd like you to do is just imagine that in between your hands, you are calling in from the universe, from the divine, a spark of energy. And that spark comes to life as a ball in between your hands, floating, and it is pulsing out radiant waves of energy. You are just the conduit. This is coming in from the universe, out your hands, and into manifestation. Just allow that ball to grow from about the size of a pea to the size of maybe an apple. If you need to separate your hands a little more, go ahead. If you'd like to give that ball of energy any qualities, like light, different colors of light, if you'd like to give it an intention of healing, weave that in. Create that radiant ball of energy. And then we're going to take that ball and lift it up towards our face and just begin to wash our face. Bring the hands over the eyes, just letting that energy begin to filter into our body, working around from the eyes to the ears, to the back of the head, all the way down the jawline, to the throat, to the heart. And then let that energy just settle into that heart space. And notice the trail of energy that has been left behind. Notice the sensation over the eyes, the ears, back of the head, the throat, the heart. Relax the hands down to your lap. Take a nice deep breath in. And let that go and relax the eyes open. And that's a little self-healing protocol that you can all give to yourselves whenever you're feeling a moment of stress or anxiety or fear or tension or whatever that is. Just take that moment, ground yourself, draw in that ball of energy from the universe, and just massage yourself with that lovely, beautiful, universal life force energy. That's how simple Reiki is.
Anyone experience anything? Beautiful, beautiful. So one of the other myths is that with Reiki, there needs to be a lot of rules. And there needs to be what is known as a kata. Kata is a Asian word for routine. It's something that is codified. It's something you need to do the same every time. And we're here to offer the fact that that's a myth, that maybe it doesn't need to be done always the same. And maybe the rules were put on this thing called Reiki so as to control it. We'd love to invite you to be uncontrolled. Really? Wouldn't that be free? If you began to realize that what it is getting sophisticated in the way that you live your life as a prayer. Whew. So I know there's another little piece you want to talk about too.
Yeah, so
Kind of the history of the tradition.
kind of the history of where the codified system of Reiki came from. We know that Reiki is energy, universal, life force. It's existed forever, but there was a Japanese master, it was a martial arts master and a monk in the mid-1800s who was seeking something more than what he had been taught. He was seeking answers for healing and for healing the body, for healing things that weren't being addressed in his society. And he went on a journey, and I don't want to go deep into his history, but ultimately he had been to so many searches without finding it. He was at his kind of wit's end. And one of the traditions in Japan was to go on what we would kind of call a vision quest. And that was to take a journey up Mount Karama and stay there for a period of time seeking your answers. One of the masters, that the last masters that he had spoken to before this quest, told him, if you are seeking these type of secrets, you have to be prepared to die for it. You have to be prepared to give everything up for it. And so that's really what his intention was going up the mountain. He spent 21 days on the mountain, and while he felt rejuvenated, healed, no longer despondent, the answers weren't quite there yet. And then when he decided that he was ready to go back down the mountain and continue the quest, he got his answers. They came to him. And he started working in the districts of Kyoto, doing his healing practice, and he started to train other people to initiate and continue this practice of Reiki. When Sensei Usui practiced Reiki, he practiced either around the head, around the crown area, or on the site of the pain or the injury. He would just go directly there. The last initiate that Sensei Usui trained was Dr. Shijiro Hayashi. And he told Dr. Hayashi, you're the last person that I'm going to train. And I want you to take this and I want you to grow it. I want you to transform it. I want you to not let it stagnate. Dr. Hayashi was a medical doctor. And of course, we not thinking of medical doctors in the terms of American allopathics, but Japanese allopathics. They knew about energy system. They called meridians and chakras. So he developed a system, a protocol for applying Reiki. And that's basically following the energy centers of the body. So that became a practice.
So I'll just stop for just a moment. There's a whole lots and lots of more history.
Yes.
And it's like, if we had time to tell you, we would. And that's something that we do teach in a Reiki blind class, because there's so many more miraculous, miracle, fabulous things. It's hard to sit here and not hear the whole story and know that we're not going to tell you that, but we wanted just to honor your time. The piece, please hear, is the transition between the seeker realizing he got something and then realizing I need to have a way to take it out and give it to other people. That's when another soul that was analytical said, well, let's put it into a system. Do you see how this is beginning? So then all of a sudden, that's the system.
And then we have the next.
You see how things like that happen?
Yep. Okay, we have the next figure in Reiki history, and she was rocking the boat. First of all, she was a woman, and up to that point, there had been no women Reiki practitioners. Yet, she was indomitable.
I mean, you look at me.
She didn't know how to be told no. Dr. Hayashi's wife.
So that means the amazing Reiki masters, come on, ladies, we're going to go,
So, Dr. Hayashi, there we go, trained both Madame Takata and his wife at the same time and initiated them into the practice of Reiki. And really, Madame Takata, she was an amazing woman, and she was very super inquisitive. And she really, the Reiki skeptic story, she was a true skeptic. Yet, there was something that she could not ignore, this knowing that she had to understand, that she had to do this. I mean, there's a whole detailed story about how she came to it, but just to save some time, once she dedicated herself to this, that was it. That was her life, Reiki. That's all that she wanted out of life, was to learn and to practice and to grow.
So I just want to say, do you see the connection, Mary, between Madame Takata and your calling, your edict? I think some others of you are beginning to relate to this. Like, what if I am getting a similar thing that I know I'm supposed to do something, and I'm not necessarily going to do it the way that they say I have to? Is anybody relating to this? Can I just... Ooh, our people, they're in the house today.
In the house. So she came back to the States, and she had Dr. Hayashi's help. She created her Reiki school, and I don't know how deeply I want to go into her story.
I know. I'd say there's so much. There's so much.
There is so much. Yet one thing I do want to say about Madame Takata is when she brought things to the West, it was World War II time. World War II happened at this time, and we know how things in Japan were at that time. Well, Reiki started to fall away in Japan just because of the war and everything that was going on here, yet she kept her practice going. And the Americans that she trained were really interested to learn the history. So when it was safe for them to go to Japan, they started to go and seek out, like, where's the roots? Where did this come from? And we're still seeking.
But I will say that one of the things that happened is that Madame Takata had to really codify things and water it down.
Mhm.
And maybe some of the truths had to be Americanized,
Yes.
so that we would be able to accept it. Like some of the myths that were told was that Master Asui was a Christian monk. She needed to tell that so as to be safe.
Mhm.
She needed to say it could only be done in the dark, and you cannot show the symbols to be safe. So what we have to realize is that sometimes in our life, we have a knowing, and we have to tell it differently because those around us get into so much fear that we begin to say it in a politically correct way or an acceptable way. And that happens. Now, what will also happen at some point, we're like, okay, I need to not say what I've been taught to say. I need to say what I know. I think that's something people can relate to, right? So just know that all of this is you. So one of the next myths is there is a right way to do Reiki. And could all of us say, really? So I'm going to say there is a right way to do Reiki.
Really?
Thank you. Because not the way that we are taught isn't always our way. Absolutely. And so, that's the brick wall. That's me. So I'll just give you the quick story of this. That's what happened here at Sweetheart. We could see that there was a traditional way, and we had been teaching traditional Reiki for, by this time, maybe 10 years. And it was done in the dark, and there were those of us that could not understand it. And yet there was the right way to do it. I'm pretty sure I was one of those that ripped the tape off and said, really? I mean, is that really the only way? And I have a very deep prayer practice, and it's pretty darn sassy. And it kind of goes like this. Listen, if you want me to get this stuff, you're going to have to be really clear. Like, I'm ready to do this. I want to pray. I love hands-on stuff, but you got to be clear. Any of you have that kind of sassy relationship? Yeah, right. So, and so it wasn't defiant. It was just more like, so I had one of those. Could you just give me a really clear clue? So my husband and I are on our way to do this wonderful little retreat. On our way up there, we stop at a bookstore in Flagstaff. And outside the bookstore, there is this messenger. Have you ever met somebody, you look at them, they stare you in the eyes, and you're like, who are they? And what do they know about me? It was that kind of person. So this was, I would say, probably a shaman. And I walk up to the door, and he has a black book, and he said to me, I know what you're looking for. It's like, I don't even know what I'm looking for. How can you know what I'm looking for? So I'm like, all right. So it was like one of those, you know. So I walk inside. I was there to get coffee. If you know me, I was there to get coffee. So I go to get coffee, and before I can come to the counter, he is sitting at the counter with his black book. I'm like, that's pretty spooky. And he said, I know what you're looking for. And by this time, I'm totally creeped out. I'm totally creeped out, right? So he said, there are many answers. They come in symbols. So then I began to realize maybe I am really talking with a shaman. Maybe I'm really talking with a messenger. I don't know what it is. So he said, why don't you go back to that section? By the time I got back to that section, guess who was there? He was. He opens up a book and shows me the symbol. And I mean, I can tell it today, and it makes me, I got so many goosebumps and so many tears. And I'm like, I get it. And right then, he invited me to pick up a book. It was so perfectly titled, Reiki for Dummies. It's still in print today. It's one of the best books ever. And what it was, it revealed everything right in this book. It had the symbols. It told why the symbols were there. And so that weekend, I had a chance. We were going out to a retreat. I had a chance to really be with this. And what I began to realize is, what if the truth is we don't always learn Reiki the same way? What if we have to teach it differently? What if you have someone like me that's extremely visual, and I need to see it and I need to feel it? What if I'm a kinesthetic person? And what if? Now, I could tell you a whole nother part of the story. Ooh, it's such a good story. I'm not going to, I got to get on with it because it's a great story, right? It's a great story. So what we began to realize here at Sweetheart is that we were going to reveal the symbol. And so we had to look for somebody that would be willing to help us with that. I'm pretty sure after that, yeah. So that's right when we decided we'll keep the traditional and we're going to start teaching transformational. And so we had to, can you imagine this? I'm out interviewing Reiki masters. I said, I'm looking for somebody that would be willing to do it differently. Now you got to realize everybody in America had been trained to do it secretly. And that I don't know what they thought or had been threatened if you did it differently. So we did have a brave Reiki master that said, yes, we will reveal the symbols. Yes, we will not turn the lights down. Yes, we will. And from then, it began. So, oops, we got to go next. What happened from there is a lot. We began teaching transformational yoga, transformational Reiki, and then all of a sudden, part of the downloads was that we should begin teaching shamanic Reiki. Now, let me talk to you about downloads. How many of you all of a sudden get these absolute flashes and you know they're coming right from the Holy Spirit? Is that too weird? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. When I get those, sometimes they will come with full visions. And they come as if somebody's in my ear or in my face, and it's like, this. And I have learned to say yes without a lot of detail. And so I'm chattering like I do to Brad. I'm like, Brad, do you know any shaman? Do you want to come up and tell your part of the story? Like, do you know any shaman? Because I'm pretty sure that all this Reiki that turned into traditional is supposed to become into shaman Reiki. And Brad said, you're never going to believe. I'll give that to Brad.
Boy, I said, I think I know a guy.
I think I know a guy.
I think I know a guy.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, so that's Larry. And I said, I know this guy that may be interested in, he knows Reiki. He's been a traditional Reiki master since the early 90s and had a healing center, all this stuff. And he's also been in shamanic work for about 20 or 30 years as well. And I think he could definitely bring this together in a way that maybe he doesn't even know that he could. And so the part of the story that I don't know that you know even is it took me 2 years
Yeah.
to get him.
He was supposed to be here?
Yeah. It took me 2 years of talking with him to get him to even to show up because he was a very traditional Reiki master and his wife was his traditional Reiki master teacher. So starting to do things differently. He's got lots of fun stories about that. I'll let him tell those. But yeah, so he became part of this cohort of learning how to build this class for us. I never intended of really teaching it with him at the beginning. It was just, well, I think he could be the person that could bring this. Of course, that changed. That changed completely.
Did you get a calling?
I did. Actually, what I now realize is that I got a revised calling from a calling I'd received long, long ago.
Ooh, speak that again. Did you just hear that one? Did you just hear that? Ooh, I got a revised calling.
It just shifted a little from something that I had found out and known about myself and done for a long time, realizing that, yes, this is a way to name it and to do it and to share it in a different way. And so that's what really brought in, and I saw the next slide that you had. When I got, what I found out, what I figured out as I learned it is that I've been doing Reiki probably from the time I was 8 years old, in one form or another, in one way or another, through one language or another, one system or another. But it was the same thing. And so when it came to coming into teaching Reiki and being in that place and having to go through learning Reiki in the traditional way, so I could be in the place of teaching it in that way, I had 3 Reiki teachers, and they came to me from every angle. I had Larry come to me from a traditional side. I had Casey come in from the transformational side, and I had Mary coming in from the holy side. And the 3 of them were my Reiki teachers that really solidified this path for me from the prior 20, 30 years. Yeah.
And then you evolved it because you continue to listen to your calling.
I continue to listen to spirit, yes. I continue to listen and many times it is really? Are you serious right now? And many times I go in, if I've learned anything, it means I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I don't know really what Reiki is. I don't think I'll ever know until I'm actually a part of it, and this piece is gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have some beliefs, though.
Yeah.
I have some beliefs. And I think that's the coolest part.
Yeah. Do you hear the common thread, though, is that we are surrendering to the fact that we definitely have a choice, but we have no choice. Yeah. I'm pretty sure if we're alive, we have the opportunity to be used by, I like to call it the great mystery. I got a lot of questions. So to me, the most honoring thing I can say, great mystery. Like I got some stuff that I will never understand, and I've come to realize it's okay because I know that it's greater than me. So I just call it the great mystery, source, God, whatever. And what we realize is we do not get hung up on the words at all. We just don't. So I just want to, could you go back one slide, just one slide. We'll only tell a little quick story. Mary, could you just speak into that one little slide, who we met and how we met this, and oh, this is such a great thing, just so that you don't think that we're ungrounded. I know you don't think that.
So not. So Casey and I had the opportunity to visit Japan, 2019, I believe, and we had the opportunity to meet Tadeo Yamaguchi, who is the son of Chiyoko Yamaguchi, and he is a living Reiki master with the lineage that came through Dr. Yasui, Master Yasui, and his Reiki is called Jikiden Reiki, which means passed down from generation to generation, and it's the word, the connection.
And so can I tell you one thing about his mother? His mother was one of the very last people that was initiated by Dr. Hayashi.
Dr. Hayashi.
So do you get that we have a lineage all the way back to the beginning, if that matters? And it does.
So Casey and I were having this conversation with Tadeo Yamaguchi and asked this question of, so, like I was trying to figure out like something super spiritual to say to someone like him. And so I said, like, tell us, is your experience with Reiki something that you practice? Is it something that you study? And he looked at both of us and he started laughing. You tell the rest of the story. He started laughing, you Americans. and I thought, oh, that is, I'm curious. And he said, Reiki is life. You don't study it. It is you are part of everything around it and through it and above it, below it, beneath it, beside it. And as he started to relate that to us of how tangible and authentic and connected it was, it was such a visceral moment sitting with someone with that level of wisdom who was also a seeker and so humble in his way that he just showed up with a very humble heart, and he is a seeker that he doesn't know what Reiki is. He just is in it, and it allows him to flow through him.
Then I said to him, did you ever think about doing anything else? And he said, no.
No. Why?
What? Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. Let's buzz through. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, even in traditional Reiki, that's one of the most common stories I hear is, and it was my story as well. I've been doing this on some level all my life without any kind of a name for it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So just so you know, we're really clear that people oftentimes say, well, isn't it a religion or a cult? No. Do we know that there are some communities that consider it taboo? Yes. And we just honor that that's not where they are right now. They don't have the communication and the relationship that obviously all of you do. I love that you're like, I get that you get that there can be a very direct connection and that it isn't always explainable or maybe even approved of. Oops. All right, next. What are you going to do? So I just want to honor we're at 7 o'clock. This may be our last slide just based on where we are.
We'll try and move through.
This is the piece. We believe if you would be willing to have your intention be to be an instrument in the peace and healing of others, that you're ready for Reiki. You'll see that outside we actually have it written on our wall, let me be an instrument and not an ego. in the peace and healing of others. So part of the reason that people come and take Reiki classes is that they are wondering how it is that they tap into what you're feeling right now, why you were here, what you were working with. And part of it is, I love Brad's way. I just want to be, what do you call it? Empty reed. Hollow bone. That I'm just here to be a conduit for that. And people always say to me, Katie, how do you have so much energy? And this is always my answer. It's not my energy. It's thine energy. And that when we do something brilliant, it's probably not us doing it. That's my feeling. And once I began to realize that if I could begin saying, I'm just an instrument, I did not get tired. I didn't get caught up in, oh, I wonder if I was good enough. You say, let me be an instrument in the peace and healing of others. So would you just for a moment, truly, just get into a quiet space and just feel these words, if they could be your words. Take a moment and just imagine that there was a time earlier today, this week, maybe this year, and you said to the great mystery, what the heck do you want me to do? And this was the invitation. Be an instrument in the peace and healing of others. This next piece, I'm going to invite you, and it's totally optional. If you want, say this word out loud. I am willing to be an instrument in the peace and healing of others. That will either be a true statement or it won't be. That will either be a true statement or it won't be. Not that Reiki is the only way that you can do that. Some of it is that it might be that you will be a better human being. When you know better, you do better. Reiki is just a way to do better. It is just a way on it. So I really feel like that we have to come to a close. So I'm going to do one last little thing, if you don't mind. It's, connect with source. So what were the other things? The other myth was that someone has to initiate you. You don't have the power to do that. And you're all going to say, really? So I'm going to say, you have to be initiated. You do not have the power to do this yourself. And you're going to say to me, really? Thank you. Did you get it? All right. So you are going to bless your own hands. Are you ready? So, if you will, do whatever magic you want to do, and we could teach you lots of ways. Just get ready, push it away, right? Okay. And if you will, for just a moment, allow yourself. If you are right-handed, take your right hand and take it all the way up into the great mystery, and put your left hand on your heart. And imagine that you actually plug in to that greater mystery. You don't even have to understand it. You just plug into that greater mystery, that place that is intelligent. It's that place that is light. It's that place from which you get direction. And you don't argue. Take your peace fingers and just hook into that greater knowing, that intelligence, that divine energy. Bring it down and open up your left hand. And on your left hand, draw a heart 3 times. Very lightly, almost as if you're teasing your hand. You feel the tickles, the energy that's happening. Close that up. That hand is now a blessing hand. Did you get it? Take it up. Don't open it up. Take it up. Really connect. I'm willing to be an instrument in the peace and healing of others. Bring it down. Now, feel the power of this left hand drawing hearts on the right hand. And you'll find that when you open up that left hand, it may just get like pulsating, or I don't know what it's going to be. Yours is going to be different. You feel it? Ooh. Now go back to the energy ball that Scott offered up. Is it any stronger? Why? Because you put your intention and your willingness. Now, for me, these are just my words, may not be yours. I say, come, Holy Spirit, I need you. Like when I do that, there's like an extra power. It may not be yours, but that's what it is. And so I am surrendering myself to the holiest of holy. Come, Holy Spirit. Woo! I need you. And now, if you will, begin to just imagine that you are blessing people from afar with intention. Imagine that you're going along the freeway and you see something happening, and you're going to take either your blessing hand or your other hand, and you're going to just say, bless, bless. You've just taken the great mystery. You've been a channel, and you're blessed, blessed. Let's say someone tells you a story and you say, ooh, gosh, let me send you blessing. Take whatever their need is, put it right here. I bet somebody has somebody right now that needs something. Take what they need, put it right here. And just put the intention that you're going to give them every piece of holy energy that you can. Whew, and send it back. Send that back to the great mystery. Sometimes we don't know what to do for others, but we can do this. We can do this. So we want to release you tonight. We've kept you a few minutes over. But tonight, there are 3 types of Reiki available. So if you are in need and you want more information about this, there are, James, I probably need to have you give us the details. There is a traditional Reiki.
Yeah, there's a couple of practitioners do traditional Reiki. I know Brad in classroom 5 on the other side of the building is doing a shamanic Reiki. In classroom 2 right around the corner here is holy Reiki. And then in the massage clinic, I've got a couple of polarity practitioners. And then in classroom 3 down at the end of the hall, mix of intuitive readers and coaches. So feel free to receive a complimentary experience from each of them. Again, it takes a lot for these students to show up and share their gifts and graces. So please honor them by showing up for yourself and enjoying the rest of the evening.
So thank you for taking the time to be with yourself tonight in a really powerful way. I hope you're leaving feeling as if your life can be a living prayer. Stay on campus. Let us help you. We do have flyers for you there if you're actually wanting to take a Reiki class. Please just be in community. So with that, could we just say to one another as we pass by, bless, bless. Bless, bless. Bless, bless. Thank you. Oh, thank you.